Hey, to lead us in prayer, please.
All right, let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for your love for us. Thank you for this time that you've given us to come together and be about the county's business. Lord, give us the wisdom and the understanding to do what is right. Lord, we pray that you would continue to bless us with the rain. We pray that you would hold back on the severeness of it, Lord, but just give us the rain. And bless us as we go our separate ways after this meeting. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I do want to welcome all of you here today for our meeting. We appreciate your interest in the county's business. We have no public hearings scheduled, but we do have public comment from some citizens related to an issue that was before us at our last meeting, I believe. Michael Burge and Ms. Burge, if both of you are going to share, we'll ask you to come to the podium, and we've given them an understanding of kind of our time constraints, and they've assured us that they're going to work with us on that.
About 3 minutes.
That'll work. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
And if you go over, I'm not going to cut you off.
Thank you for letting us be here today. We've got a written statement I would just like to read to the county commissioner. Plead for commission to adopt the law requiring rural dog owners to keep their dogs on their own property or within their leased or rented property or on a leash. I talked to the chief deputy on February 10th, 2023 about 2 dogs in our neighborhood disrupting my whole hunting season. Debbie and I have lived in our present location for 49 years with no dog issues. We own 70 acres on the west side of 87 and 87 acres on the east side of Alabama Highway 55 between 5 and 6 mile markers. Our property is bordered on the north by Glenn Reynolds, who is the old Wagner property, 140 acres, formerly Wagner property. On the west side of our land is bordered by 80 acres owned by the Chanks estate. On the south side, we are bordered by the Chanks Road, Rayonier Timber Company, and Steve Gohagan. New neighbors bought 12 acres on the Chanks Road. This property does not join us. It borders the Chanks estate on the north and the Chanks Road on the south. It is approximately 1,500 feet from our property to theirs. Their dogs completely disrupted my hunting season. One is a black aggressive dog, and the other one is a white Great Pyrenees. I asked the owners several times to keep their dogs on their 12 acres, but they replied they moved to the country where their dogs could go where they wanted to. I explained I had time and money in my deer food plots, and I asked them if they would keep them on a shut-up or on a lease early in the morning or late in the afternoon when I hunted. I even offered to put up an electric fence or a wire mesh fence. I have cameras on my food plots and even sent messages to them showing the dogs in my food plots. They said they tried to tie one of the dogs, but he broke the rope. The black dog has a tracking collar. The owner should be aware how far the dog is roaming from their 12 acres and trespassing to all neighbors' properties. There are 6 residents on the Chance Road called the Chance subdivision back here in the mapping room. Adam Bryan owns 20 acres across the Chance Road for the new neighbors. The same black dog came across the road, his property aggressively, growling and chasing his grandchildren who were riding on his golf cart. He told the owner the next time it happened he would shoot his dog. Mr. Bryan's property is fenced with barbed wire except at his driveway president opening. Patricia Laird owns 13 acres on the Chance Road. The same black dog has aggressively and growled at her when she walked on the dirt road for exercise. She had to quit walking because she was afraid of being bitten. She also cuts 5 acres of grass in her front yard. The black dog has been aggressive and threatened her while she was cutting the grass on her lawnmower. Mark Bookout owns 17 acres on the Chance Road. Again, the same black dog has been aggressive and growled at him while he was bow hunting on the ground behind his home. Harold Langley leases the Reynolds property, which is his old Wagner property. The same black dog and Great White Pyrenees are on camera in his hunting plots on the west side of Highway 55. They leave their scent scaring off the deer. Mr. Langley lives south of Paxson. When it comes to his ground blind, he usually hunts all day. His wife also hunts in the ground blind when he is working. The black dog has been aggressive and growled at her. One day they were both hunting and the dog growled at them. Mr. Langley said he would have shot the dog, but he saw a tracking collar on him. He knew the dog belonged to someone. His stand is about a half a mile from the new neighbor's property all the way across the Chanks estate. Finally, this is the reason I'm here today. On May 26, 2023, this same dog came across the Chinks property and started growling and charging at my 5-year-old grandson and my wife, who were playing soccer on our property behind our mesh fence. If we had not had this fence between our property and the Chinks estate, I believe this dog would have attacked them. I was working on my truck, and when I realized what was happening, I shot in the air with my pistol and ran the dog home. Our fence has a gap in it just below our yard. This black dog and white dog have come through the gap in the past and barked at our cows we were feeding under the barn for beef. When the dogs saw me, they would run back through the woods to the new neighbor's property. The black dog has charged me when I was cutting the grass around the old Chinks house. We have never had any in our neighborhood who owned an aggressive dog and not only threatens men but terrorizes women and children. I am here to encourage the county to adopt statute Alabama Code 3-1-5 for dog owners to keep their dogs on their own property or leased property. Thank you, Chairman.
Just hang with us. There may be some questions. We appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing it with us verbally, but also giving it to us in written form so we could follow. Y'all had a lot of problems, and I think the commission certainly needs to take note of that and consider it very strongly as we consider your request plus the one that was presented 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Anybody have any questions for Mr.
Have
Mike?
you contacted like the sheriff department, anything to see or anything with that?
I talked to the chief deputy on February 10th.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did they say?
He gave me a copy of the statute of that state, but this county hasn't adopted that statute this time.
We have to adopt that for them to be able to take action, unless the dog, I guess, has
We
literally attacked
are
somebody.
scared he's going to bite somebody, hurt some small
Yeah,
child. or
we
something.
want to take action before that, for sure.
Wasn't there something that Sheriff Turman and had discussed with Walt, the DA, about all of this, and that if we did do an ordinance, wasn't that what they said the last meeting? There was something, and maybe we need to look into that.
Well, I have a little bit since the last meeting, not sufficiently yet, but Mr. Bird's referenced Alabama Code Section 3-1-5, and I think that's what gives us local
Local
authority to
authority,
enact
yeah.
within the county.
Doesn't it have to be enacted, though, by the county,
It does by the county commission, right.
or whatever the local governing body is, be it city or whatever?
We thank you for your time. We've got to go to Pensacola for a doctor's appointment.
Okay. We appreciate y'all coming today. We are concerned with you about what you're facing, and so the commission will make
I
that a
thank
point
Mr. Chairman
of
and Commission.
discussion moving forward. So
This is the same act, or the act that I think the other lady.
that's correct. That's right.
It is. There's no.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all, Mr. Burr. All right.
Well, apparently, I didn't realize we had that big of an issue with it being, everywhere, but I think we probably.
It's-
We're gonna have to end up doing something, I
It's-
think so too.
It's been a long-standing problem, but in earlier years, there was not any authority for the county to do anything. But the act they're referring to is a relatively recently enacted. I mean, it may have been 10 or 12 years ago, I'm not sure. But it all of a sudden, it's something we can take action on and maybe help resolve the problem. The enforcement of it is going to be on the sheriff, and that's where the problem lies, because if you enact it, then there are going to be more and more and more calls asking for attention and help. And he can cover some of those with current staff, but I don't know when it will run out and require additional staff.
The other thing is, if we do adopt this, and say the sheriff has to go pick up an animal, we need to get, I guess right now we use the city pound, is that not?
Yeah.
We got so much. We got to talk to them about,
We have a contract with them that allows us to take animals there and, or to allow citizens to take animals there if there's stray animals that they can pick up.
I think the sheriff mentioned last time it'd be an increase in manpower too,
Yeah.
man hours. But who knows how many calls you'll get once that's enacted.
I know. But think about, we've already had 2 in
Oh,
the
yeah.
last, 2 weeks
Yeah.
now. And we had one at home, but it was about the dogs barking, not about them chasing
Threats.
anybody. Mhm.
Mayor Johnson's on that,
I'd like to
the
look at
noise
that.
ordinance.
Just because the dog's barking at somebody else's property or something like that, be a whole lot different than one that's aggressive and that.
Right, that's chasing.
Maybe we can ask administrator to see if the association can share
I think so.
existing regulations or ordinances that other counties have adopted. That'll give us a good starting point to review those, see what they addressed or didn't address, and maybe we can get that in our hands in the next week or so, and before the next meeting, we'll know what our next steps would be. Usually, in adoption of an ordinance in a city or whatever, you have a time to read it, a time for comment before adoption. I don't know that that's the rules under this code, but we'll find out.
I would rather see something like an aggressive ordinance. If the dog is aggressive,
Mhm.
that would be more what you need to look at, rather than saying you got to confine your dog to your premises.
Yeah, that's,
Because you got 300 or 400 acres and the fella's got an acre, and his dog comes over on your property, you'd rather stay there, or either your dog the same way. You know, they may not be aggressive, they just don't want your dog on their property. Well, that kind of limits what you can, how you're governed, you know, but if your dog's aggressive, yeah, he needs to be something done, but I think it needs to be more of an aggressive policy rather than a range policy. You know, it be on somebody's property.
You have to be concerned about is, who's gonna say the dog was aggressive? You know, if you
Yeah.
come over my
Yeah.
property, I'm gonna say it's aggressive, but you gonna say it's not, then if the sheriff gets there and it's not aggressive in that yard, then it's gonna be a,
he said, she said.
Yeah,
yeah.
and no matter what we do, somebody's not gonna like
The-
Amen.
it. So,
But with, with technology, with cell phones, people can video it real quick, so
Yeah.
there's, something, if that would hold up, I don't know if that would hold up.
But I'm
Type of evidence.
I like that, the idea of seeing what other counties have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to figure out the best way to handle our situation.
yes, and what do they do as the result of it? What is their means of taking care of it?
Yeah. All right, we'll get the ball rolling on that, because I think we're all in agreement that there are obviously some problems that need addressing.
Also, if the sheriff could, kind of look at what, I know it's hypothetical, but what it might take. Would it take just one more officer, and give us an idea? Thank you.
All right. That took care of our public comment. No awards or presentations, but we have other elected officials with us today. Anything you want to share, Judge? Okay. Sheriff, you want to share anything now or come up later?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for attending the 200th bicentennial. It was a success. The food was great, the fellowship was great, and I appreciate y'all coming.
You had two previous sheriffs in attendance?
Two prior sheriffs there.
Who were those?
We had Matthew Hammett was there,
Sheriff Mitchell and Sheriff Clark.
Sheriff Mitchell, Sheriff Clark. There was a number of people there. And I'm sorry, they're
But-
completing my mind right now.
Well, the two prior sheriffs, like I said, were Mitchell and Clark and their spouses.
Their
I'm glad
spouses.
they were able to
Clark
attend.
came from Coleman, Alabama.
Mhm.
He made a pretty long trip. He's
Yeah.
not the best of health, but I was proud to see him there.
Yeah.
Sheriff Don Harrell would have came, but Don is not in good health, and Sheriff Mix had a prior game.
Yeah.
So it was a success. It was nice to go over, some of our history and help us to focus on where we need to go. So the next one will be another 100 years from now, so I invite any of y'all to come that would like to.
Looking forward to seeing you
I
there.
may not be there, but I'll do my best.
Save the date.
Save the day.
Okay.
So thank you, guys.
Yep, all right, thank you. Commissioners, under the consent agenda, let me note that you have received copies of the May 9th and the May 23rd minutes, and you've also had a chance to review the accounts payable and payroll for the month of May. I'll ask if there are any corrections to note on those, or if there's a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
So the motion is to approve all items under the consent agenda. Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Anybody have a question or note on that? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, those are approved. We have nothing carried forward for this meeting under old business, so let's move on to the new business. Item A is discuss internet rate change, I believe it is, and Karen, is that you or Eric that's going to address that? Eric, we'll call you up.
So we're facing an issue now where, if you guys remember, Central Elite rebranded to Lumen last year. Lumen has now sold the internet rights to a company called Brightspeed. So all the Brightspeed trucks that you see around town is what used to be Lumen's internet company. So with that, Brightspeed is no longer honoring the pricing that Lumen stated. So when your contract comes up for renewal, you're getting what they call an internet re-rate. So our internet price existing was $519 a month. It is being increased to just under $1,600 a month. So it's happening everywhere. There's multiple businesses everywhere. So Brightspeed has come out and said that sometime in 2024, they would possibly go back down to a better price that is more comparable to what we are now. But they also said that it was going to happen later this year. Now it's been changed to next year. So we don't know if it's going to happen or not. So with that, we have a decision to make. Either A, we accept the re-rate through Lumen, locks us into a 3-year contract at that rate. Or B, there's a company called Blue Plane Technologies. They have an agreement with Brightspeed that allows them to sell Brightspeed Internet on a non-contractual basis, which means it's a month-to-month. So when Brightspeed does come out, and whenever they do, and say, here's the new price change, we could cancel with them and go back to Brightspeed and get a cheaper rate. Okay? Because they're an internet reseller, they sell so much internet, they get it for a cheaper price than what we can get it directly. So the choice is, A, we sign the Lumen contract or Brightspeed contract for just under $1,600 a month.
But they want that for 3 years.
They want it for 3 years, or we go month to month at just under $1,300 a month through Blue Plains. So, but we got to enter into an agreement with Blue Plains, even though it is month to month. We do got to enter into an agreement with them.
And who was the original Brightspeed?
It was CenturyLink. CenturyLink rebranded to Lumen
Okay.
last year. Lumen sold the internet rights in 24 states in the United States.
Have we talked to MediaCom?
We can. MediaCom is $100 cheaper
Have-
than what the existing rate from Brightspeed is.
Have we talked? Okay, but not the new rate.
No, the new rate.
The
They're
new rate.
$100 cheaper than the new rate.
Have we talked to Buzz to see?
Buzz will not service us because we're
To
in
see
city
how
limits.
close they are to coming into the city?
The Buzz cannot come into the city limits until their entire rural project is completed, which they're not expecting that until into 2024.
I think they could. I think they just have committed as a company.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
will
think there's-
not. We have, the only offices of the county that Buzz has agreed to service is the arena and Point A Park, of which they are building out the infrastructure for Point A Park now.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, Buzz is not an option for us currently. But
So
if-
I mean, it makes a lot of sense to go with the one that's month to month and cheaper, doesn't it?
I would think
Same
so,
service?
Think
Especially
so.
if the thing about the contract, okay, if they lock it in
No,
for 3 years,
it
if
was
they do come back
less,
with lower rates than
$100
that
less than their
contract,
price
we'll
this
avoid
month.
the interest to get
It does not.
I don't think
It
so.
is not.
It does not.
They want you for
That's
3
what you're
years.
asking us.
yeah, their
They're gonna come
contracts.
back
My
with a cheaper
concern is
rate.
there a
Right.
connect fee
So
that we've got.
What
to
was
add to this.
MediaCom?
Mediacom comes in at about $100 cheaper than what the new rate
The
is.
new rate, okay, gotcha.
So they come to about
Not
$100
as cheap,
cheaper.
but not as cheap as
Not as cheap as
No.
Blue.
Blues or something.
Blue Plains is
Buffalo.
still leading
Blue
the game right now because they sell so much, they get it for a discounted rate
So your recommendation is go Blue Plains
Correct.
for month to month, is there a motion?
until we decide.
Yeah, I saw an article in the paper for the city council meeting, and Mayor Johnson was looking into, I guess, the utility board self-serving, doing high-speed internet.
Well, something's gonna have to happen because once,
I don't know if it's through Buzz or what, but they're looking into.
well, see, Brightspeed got called in to the state of Alabama because of this, because the state of Alabama and all of their state offices throughout every county, they use CenturyLink, which is now Brightspeed. And Brightspeed pretty much told them, we are where we are with the pricing, we're sorry if you're unhappy. That's basically what they told them, so we're kinda stuck with it.
Just coming out of your budget?
Huh? Yeah, it's budgeted. Well, yeah, kind of. We had a contract that had currently expired with Lumen for some services we had, and so we were going to actually be recouping some money each month. We still will, but the bulk of what we're going to be recouping is going to be eat up by this additional cost.
I make a motion, we go with Blue Plains.
So we have a motion and second. Anybody else have a question for Eric? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
I just go back to all the internet and all this computers just a rip off. They know it and they can just get it.
All right, Karen, the next item on the agenda is award bid for three-phase heat pump system.
That's correct. Kevin Kennedy and I.
Kevin and Karen
opened
ganging up on
bids.
us.
Good morning, gentlemen, yes. So we
Ladies.
did receive bids
And
yesterday.
ladies.
And ladies. We did receive bids yesterday and opened them yesterday for the the one three-phase, 3-ton unit that we had out at the USDA building. The low bidder was Rogers Refrigeration, and my recommendation is to award that bid to them.
And that was a $5,500 bid, is that?
I believe that's
Sound
correct.
on it?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that's installed, so
That's right.
you've heard the recommendation, there were 2 bidders, the other was 2,000 or 3,000 above that. so-
1,700 above it, no, 1,300 above it, I believe.
So is there,
More than that, it was 69.70,
okay,
so that was 14, nearly $1,500.
Okay.
so is there a motion to award the bid as recommended to the low bidder?
I'll make,
Motion and second, anybody else have a question on that?
do we have any more that's questionable?
Yeah, we're
I
going
know
to
I had this one to go out, but.
Several that are questionable every
I mean,
day. We have another one to discuss in Part C. There's one out at the jail right now. Me and Karen have been working, Karen, I know, has been working diligently because we've discussed it on numerous occasions, even discussed it with Mr. White a few days ago. And I believe just this morning, we got confirmation
Yes, from
from
our
a
audit examiner.
auditor examiner that we could fix this air conditioning unit. We didn't have to bid it out.
She stated that as long as we're not buying several units that add up to more than the bid law requirement, then we can treat each of these individually. So we can purchase without bidding unless we're doing a big package deal of replacement.
And we had heard that once before, and then we had heard something different. So we were trying to go
Conflicting information.
by what we knew to be true at the time. I like this idea. I think this is the way we go.
This
Well, I
is,
thought that when we brought, when it was the other day, I said, something that's down, we need to be fixing it. It don't need to be bid out and brought in and all that. If there's some way of getting it done.
That's the thing. We're
That's
trying
the
to
thing
find
we
a way to get it done and still be
Right.
legally do it through
To me,
the state.
That was more of a common sense approach than, you don't want to waste money or do it out of the way, but.
I think it's a
If you
really
got
good,
something
it's a
that's
really
down,
good idea I think it's a good idea to bid some of this stuff out, but from time to time, it's so timely to bid it out. By the time we get y'all's approval to solicit bids, and then have to come 2 weeks later to get the approval for the bid, and then order the equipment, we're talking about a month to 6 weeks minimum before we can even get one started.
Well,
That's
we'd
a
ask you
long
about
time.
If we had anything that was really questionable.
We
need
do
to be
have-
Going ahead working so we won't get in this position.
Well, if we can stay in this position, where we can get them when they tear up, we won't have a problem.
Okay, all right, good.
If we can get them when they tear up, that's the thing. We've got several units throughout the county. There's probably 50 units throughout the county.
Yeah.
And several that are over 20 years old, several that are 15-ish,
So-
several over 10 years
So
old.
several years ago, we talked to Kevin and asked him to inventory what he had, and so he should have a good grasp on that. And we can make plans to replace units even before they tear up. If they're 20 years, they
Yeah.
probably need to be.
what'd you say the 2 oldest were? Where are they?
At the health department, there are 2 1994 models today that's still running and working good. But there's also a 13-year-old one that the compressor went out in. All these units have the old style Freon, which is very expensive if they have a failure of some kind or a breakdown, that we have to recharge them any. If you lose any Freon, you have to recharge them. That Freon is $85 a pound. Some of these units hold 15 pounds because they're 7.5 and 10 ton. So if you have a little copper line with a leak in it and you have to refill that thing, it's so expensive that it's not, I wouldn't recommend repairing some of these older units.
not economically.
It's not economically smart at all. I mean, when you
What
have
about
an
the
old
unit for this? We don't want Miss Lynn to be sweating. up
This
there, so-
is the oldest unit, this unit in this room right here was put in when this was originally built in 1996. And there's 2 of them here still, and it's the most important places, the commission chamber and Karen's office. The only 2 that are still original.
But I will tell you, I had to turn this one up 2 or 3 degrees. It was cold here this morning.
I did that
so
It's
intentionally.
not now.
It was cold.
I did that intentionally. Well, you hear him, he turned it up.
It's a little warm now.
I turned it down this morning because of the people.
Yeah, okay. So the issue before us right now is awarding the bid on, to Rogers
And this is for the jail?
No, this
No.
one is for the USDA bill.
USDA office.
Okay.
So you've heard the motion and the second on that. If there's no other questions, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that's done. The second one now is the
Not that it
jail
matters,
unit.
but,
It's a roughly $15,000 one. I got a quote, I don't have it with me. It was 15,000 and some change for a 10-ton unit at the jail in B Block. That unit is an '05 model, I believe, so it's really old also. '05, so it's,
And based on the guidance that we received this morning, we can purchase that. You know, we're gonna review that further. I mean, all of you that deal with it know how restrictive the bid law is, and we want so desperately to be in compliance with that on everything we do. We're gonna move on the current direction, the current directive that we received this morning and purchase it, have it installed, and it's an emergency situation anyway, is the way we see it, so.
it almost is in the jail
It
because
is.
of the,
They've had to relocate inmates, that becomes an emergency.
well, you can't open windows over
Shift
there.
them.
and
Lack
get
of
any-
air movement.
Yeah, lack of air movement, it's just,
So there, you heard that he has a quote of 15,000 some odd dollars. That also is from
Rogers Refrigeration.
Rogers Refrigeration, who has done a lot of our refrigeration work over the years. So they're certainly capable and able to deliver quickly, I would think,
Yes,
to
sir.
have a unit on hand.
and the idea, they will have to order it, but that unit is available from the distributor.
Good.
And this also is the same unit that's already in the jail, same type, which helps me with parts and materials, and it's just easier to work. If they're all the same, you can keep a part or two for them, and you can fix them.
And you're not gonna have to have approval from us to go purchase that one, right?
Right. I got approval,
If everything
right.
We're going to approve it today.
Right.
We need a motion to replace that unit.
in the jail,
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
okay. Motion and second. Anybody have a question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
Thank you.
What else, Kevin?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson, the Revenue Commissioner, has submitted for our consideration his list of insolvents, errors, and tax litigations. It's on your, Commissioners, in page 37, 38, and 39 in your packet. This is an annual administrative action on our part and his part. We generally take this and approve it as submitted. You've had it for a couple of days. You may have looked at it and had questions, or if so, this is a good time to raise them. We'll let Karen answer them. Or we can just approve it as submitted based on the work of his
It
office.
looks like some of the businesses, not very many are out of business, but some of them, I think, are still in business.
So we don't know how they get on this list. do we?
Yeah, I don't totally understand. $4.94, $44. I know that one's in business. Inflatable Zoo, is that?
I wonder if corrections and all are on this list, even though the label of the list is insolvent. I wonder if there are corrections and errors, so if somebody had something they were paying tax on, they contacted his office and said, hey, that item was disposed of 2 years ago. And so those are some of the real small dollar amounts on here. The total anyway is, how much?
Locks and lashes, I think it's
63, 51, 11. So it's not a significant
That
amount
one's
in the
still
overall
open.
scheme of things. And yes, it's a regular administrative act on our part, so we would entertain a motion to approve the list. And then see if we have questions on
I don't
it.
know about that.
If we get a mo- there's a motion.
Bought it
Second.
out, So it's not open.
Anybody have questions or comments, thoughts?
It's gonna be,
He will submit this to the State Department of Revenue. Do you have anything on it that you want? Explain it, Frank. All right, we have a motion and a second and a lot of discussion, no questions, no comments, so, let's see how we vote. May be interesting, huh? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. It passed unanimously, okay.
that one is, Town and Country.
Let's move to the next item. The next one, Sheriff, is your department is considering MOU with Aaliyah for some equipment.
Change the business name.
and little-
Some of these.
Pioneer's not
Yes,
still open.
The memorandum of understanding is from the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, and it's reference to the Smart Scan technology that we are lucky enough to be able to have this in our county. What it does, right now, we take fingerprints, and we take pictures of mug shots, and they go into pretty much our files,
And this right here is the Smart Scan is going to be able to take these files and consolidate them in a central spot within the State Information Center. We'll be taking not only fingerprints and palm prints, but we'll also be taking iris, retina pictures and mug shots. And it does have the capabilities to later put DNA samples in there. What this will do is we'll have a database that if we get some DNA or something, you stick it in there and boom, we'll have the criminal real fast. It does require some costs. Aaliyah is providing the equipment and the installation and the upkeep. However, there's a $3,800 a year cost to keep this in our jail, and it will be used by the entire county, because as of it'll be a couple of weeks, but OP will be closing their jail, and everybody will be coming to the Covington County Jail. So it's a great opportunity, and I am.
What about the access, Sheriff? So if OP is researching, will they have access to the database just like you do?
Yes.
Under a different contract or something?
No, it'll be through the same contract that I have. This is not going in their facility. It's going into the county's facility.
Right.
And naturally, because that's where everybody
But they can
that is
access it from a remote computer. They don't have to come over here to access it at your facility, as far as you know.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know if they can access it from a remote computer or not, but as long as we get the information put in to the system, I believe it will self-access.
And Aaliyah is the one that will manage or control the access, just
That's
like
right.
NCIC or other things that have limited access.
That's correct.
With certain clearances and stuff.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's
Will there be an adjustment to what they already pay the Sheriff's Department? And that we won't be charging them?
This is just an agreement to update our capability, but this is certainly not a cost you're gonna pass on to the other police departments in
No,
the county.
no, there won't be any adjustment in that unless, you decide to do so at a later time.
You said it was 38 a year?
$3,800 a year. It is. So-
Do you have a fingerprint machine now?
I do.
Does it work?
I do.
And you've been sending them in
Yes.
to Aaliyah?
To Aaliyah,
Okay.
to where it goes to.
All right. If for some reason that they weren't getting them, is there a result from that for you or for the county that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware
Not that
of.
you're aware
As
of,
far as I
okay.
know, I've heard no complaints.
Okay.
So as far as I know, they've been getting them.
All right, and we get this new one, where would it be located, here or in the jail?
It'll be located in the
In the
jail.
jail? And do you
Yes.
have someone there that's trained already to use it?
We will have somebody trained if this goes
Aaliyah's
through.
doing the training.
Aaliyah's doing the
Aaliyah's
training,
doing the
yes.
training.
According to the agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. And the first year, I understood, was being paid by Aaliyah.
That's correct. The first year, there's no
$3,800.
initial startups. This would be something that we could cover in our budget in the upcoming.
So we'd have to worry about it after the first year if you wanted to keep it or
Yes,
not
ma'am.
keep it.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. We're very fortunate to have this offered to us. Not everybody in the state is getting this,
That's right.
but we happen to have a ace in the hole up in Montgomery that is from Covington County, and he worked really hard to try to get this for us. So
It looks like a 5-year contract with the ability to terminate it
yes,
with a
30 days.
30-day notice if you choose to. It certainly seems appropriate. It's an upgrade to what we currently can
You
offer.
said it could do DNA, so if y'all went to a crime scene and you had a suspect's DNA, y'all could bring that
It can't.
back
It can't do it. That's not part of the package yet.
Okay.
But that is something that can be added on in the future. And when it's added on, I highly recommend we get on that as well. A DNA swab is simple as, running a Q-tip in somebody's mouth. Very, very simple. But this right here is just going to streamline things, guys. When you got a fingerprint at the scene of a crime, now they have to go up there and be It takes a lot of time. This is not necessarily going to speed up the process of getting the fingerprint return. We're just going to have more fingerprints to go by. Because there's lots of crimes out there that are committed by people that's never been fingerprinted. Well, this is going to be a mandate. If you come into that jail, you're going to be fingerprinted. And you're going to have a iris scan. And anything that this thing, that gives us the fingerprint, the palm print, we're working with a palm print right now. Luckily, we kind of figure out whose it is, and we have to go get a palm print. But at this current time, it doesn't take a palm print. So it's definitely an asset to our
The
department.
cost involved, as I understood it reading too, was that it would be the transfer of the information from here to Aaliyah
Correct.
to be put into their database. It's not the cost involved with the program, it's just for that
It's
transfer.
just to move the
So I guess that's
information.
gonna go back too with Eric and our new way of sending, isn't it? We've got to have,
Dial-up internet.
yep, oh, yeah.
Okay.
So-
Any other questions on this?
It says the upgrade is in here. Does that upgrade come with it? If,
Well-
2 years down the road, it needs to be upgraded with the software, is that gonna be on us, or they will upgrade it?
No,
at
as
their
far as,
expense?
upgrading anything, the way I read it, it's up to Aaliyah. We just need to be able to allow them access to the machine, and I don't foresee a problem with that at all.
The contract doesn't have the county commission as a party to it, but we can add that on, I think, if
Yeah, it's
that's- if
just,
that's
it's
appropriate
more or
to
less
do.
a memorandum of understanding.
Yeah. So I recommend that we enter this MOU or approve the MOU to benefit from these services, and I think it'll help the state as a whole because of the
Help us
database that
all
will be
out.
developed. What are your wishes?
I'm the motion we do,
Okay,
I think would be beneficial.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Any other questions or
And
comments?
Like I said, the first year will be, Aaliyah's paying for it, so we just.
That's
we're
correct.
kind of Budgeting down the road.
Yeah. Some things don't work out as advertised, but we hope this does, and it's
And
a
we got
good
30
investment.
days.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, we got a 30-day window.
So I've heard a motion and second. Anything else? Let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. What else, Sheriff?
We also have, some add-on equipment that was purchased for the, last patrol car that we replaced. That add-on equipment, we're seeking to be, the funding for it. Let me pull it up and see exactly what it was. This was for a 2023, Ford Responder truck. And the add-on equipment was, of course, a push bumper, some additional lights, a toolbox, and the installation of the cage and the radios. When we got these from Stivers, we got them as base as we possibly could, and these had to be put in.
That's not the one we approved last week, an increased bid price because of the add-ons being,
Because I thought Stiver.
Yeah.
coming with the
I
equipment.
think that might have been it might be the
Stiver's
same.
on the last one, the add-on was already on it, on the last.
You know, and
That's right,
S&P had some equipment over there that they had.
that we had
ordered.
already purchased.
So what's the difference in what?
Oh, the cage has been bought and paid for. They just had to have somebody put it in. Radio was bought and paid for. It was
I
just,
thought Stivers had all that whenever they,
Like all the cage and everything, I thought that was down.
Yeah, I think we're,
no,
we adjusted the bid price.
right.
There was a quoted price that we had approved at an earlier meeting. You came back and said, hey, they've done the add-ons, so we have an increased price, just to make you aware. But we were planning to get those locally, but those are now added.
Well, what had happened, when we went to order these vehicles from Stivers, they were already set up, but they did not have the cage in it, or the radio, or the push bumper on it, or a toolbox. They were basically the base truck with a base light package on it, which was just base.
Look back at the other, see what they said their add-ons, did it show in that?
But we had already purchased the cage. We already had it in stock.
Is this what you was asking about?
yeah.
That we already knew had been purchased, and you said they could probably send back because we have the add-ons on these new trucks already.
Well, no,
Once they got here, they already had what Jay had in stock.
the cages that were bought, that Jay had in stock, were bought a couple of years ago when we tried to get some Ford trucks. Stivers told us we had the Ford trucks, we had purchased the equipment, and boom, they didn't show up because of some computer issue or something. We never got those trucks. Now, we did get things to replace it with, but we had those cages in stock that they were stored over at Jay's. There were some other things that were purchased with that purchase, but he was able to sell
And
them.
I thought this was a later one, that on these last trucks, that he had gotten some stuff that was.
That's the same stuff. It's the
I
same
was just
stuff.
misunderstanding what he said then.
Right.
He told me he had some stuff again that had been ordered, and then these trucks are coming in without.
I think we're getting mixed up somewhere, because the only thing that I'm aware of that we had ordered and did not use was for the three F-150s I ordered back a couple of years ago, and they never came in. And we've eventually used that stuff, the lights, he's sold some things, and there were some cages left over. So we were able to use, we have one extra cage now.
How
so-
many units is this equipping? This total purchase is $4,263. Is that
That's
one unit?
one unit, yes.
And we have another one that we're gonna have to equip or no?
No, I handled it out of discretionary
Okay, so
funds.
there were two that we did buy that you were having to deal
He
with.
bought one.
Okay. Well, so if you were to buy a police vehicle today and you just bought a car off the street, how much is it gonna take? What would the normal cost to equip it and get it ready for the road?
If I buy a plain Jane pickup truck
Yeah.
or Tahoe with no equipment in it whatsoever, you're looking anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000 to equip that truck.
Okay.
And that's not counting a radar. Radar is
So
$3,000.
This is approximately one half of the add-on equipment. The other half came with the truck.
Came with the truck, and
And we adjusted our purchase price from the bid last meeting
Yes.
by $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. I don't remember how much per unit. Based on that.
I think it's 5,000, I think
okay.
it's one unit.
So a total of
It's a lot bar
9,200,
package.
give or take.
right, this is.
So it's probably in line. It just
It
caught
is
us
in
off
line.
guard because we thought we covered all that in the last meeting. But if you're saying that this was a necessary add-on
It
and
was-
it's going
it
on
was
trucks you just
necessary.
purchased, then I think we certainly don't want them out there without being fully equipped, so.
The push bumpers save us a tremendous amount of front-end damage. We can push people out of the road when they're broken down without damaging their car.
The request is for approving the $4,263.49, which is an equipment purchase from S&P Communications of Ipe, Alabama. What are your wishes, Commissioner?
I guess if it's something we got to have, I know Karen just pulled up and looked at it. It did show some light packages and stuff like that on there, but it didn't show the radios and stuff like that.
Right, the light package that the truck came with was basically front and rear lights. Sorry, no, that was my truck. Basically the light package that came from Stivers on the truck in question that we're dealing with was a light bar. It had no side lights, no corner lights or anything like that. And I asked them to leave that off of it because it was costing more.
$5,000 just for a lot bar?
What's that?
The $5,000 that we had additional add-on was just for a lot bar?
No, there's more to it than that. You also have a console, it's not just a light, it's a light bar, it's a control head, it's the console that goes in it. The trucks don't come with a center seat or anything like that, no console, so you had to have a console to go there, the computer mount. What else did that truck come with? That's all I can think, and siren, that it
So
came with that.
if the add-on from Stivers was $5,600 and this one is $42,000, then you're looking at around $99,900, which is about
That's
in
about
line with
what
what
we
he said it would
spent.
cost, so. So the total package is as expected.
Yeah, the optimum way to do this, and we would have done it this way if we could have, was just to buy the truck a blank truck and bring it up to S&P and have him do the equipment, have it equip it. Because all the equipment's there, he works on everything. That's what we would like to do, but this option that we had no choice.
Okay.
We had to buy them with that equipment in it.
I think next time, just make sure if we look at that, to clarify that there may be additional add-ons that have to take place instead of all of us sitting here thinking it's pretty much an equivalent.
Yes, I agree
We
with you.
thought it'd come equipped.
Yeah, ready to good service.
So after gaining that understanding of the issue, what do you want to do? Need a motion? Motion to approve would certainly be in order.
I will make a motion, but like I said, just try to.
I agree with you.
Form a little different next time, if you don't mind.
Right.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second. Y'all waiting on me?
Well, we have a motion and second to approve the purchase, 426349. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries.
I don't think I have anything else.
Anything else come to mind?
No?
That's
Just
not on
thank
the
you, guys.
agenda? Okay.
I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Sheriff. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your department. Next item is G, is announced purchase of property. You may recall that probably 3 or 4 meetings ago, the commission went into executive session. The purpose of that executive session was to discuss a piece of property that we had an opportunity to acquire. And that was, it's unusual in that executive session in that the approval is given within that executive session. But then we have, within 60 days of the purchase of the property, we have to announce and make it public. And so we're within 60 days. We closed on a piece of property about in the last 30 days. I don't recall the exact date of it. So we're well within the time as required by law. It was a purchase of a piece of property that's contiguous to the arena property. We previously had about just around 22 acres at the arena. And this is an additional 12, plus or minus, a little over 12 acres actually, that was contiguous, the shared common property line. It gives us ingress and egress off of South Cotton Street, as opposed to being limited to the access off of the bypass. So I think that'll be helpful in certain events. It's a beautiful piece of property, I think. The total price on that 12 acres with closing costs and so forth was $70,142.96, so a little under $6,000 an acre. But again, we're situated, located next to our property. I think it was a good, very good purchase price. Be glad for the commission to make comment on that if they choose to, or raise questions for Ms. Karen if they want to.
I think it was really an ideal piece where it was located. Like you said, it does give us access off another road that comes in there. There's a lot we can actually kind of develop, and I think doing this property is going to help us out with the ring down there.
I think so. It's really hard. We don't do a really good job of communicating the activities that are going on the South Bypass between the Kiwanis and the city's fields, and then the Covington Center Arena. But there have been, I know over the last 4 weekends, there have been events, multiple day events every weekend. There's something this weekend. I can't recall what it is.
Southern Rain Cow Horse Alliance this weekend. Next weekend is Tub Dennis Horse Sale. Weekend following that is Deep South Dressage.
So we've had 4 weekends in a row, 3 weekends following coming up in a row, so a total of 7 weekends in a row. And all of those, with the exception of the horse sale, are multiple day events. And so that means they're bringing families into the community. A lot of times they're staying in their trailers, their horse trailers are equipped for lodging, but some of them are not. And if you have a bunch of junior rodeoers coming here, aged 11, 12, 13, they're going to have grandparents with them that probably don't want to sleep in that trailer. So they're renting rooms. All of them are going out to eat at David's and Big Mike's and Sonic and Dairy Queen or wherever. And they're going and buying supplies. So it is having a very positive impact on our community, I think, in a very, very good way. And so this is just an easy, kind of a once in a generation opportunity for us to expand that property to a really usable piece of property. And so we appreciate the seller, who were Don and
Renee.
Renee Bullard, people on that, and we appreciate them working with us on that, so. Any other comments?
Well, kind of like I said, the access, gives us more access, and we were kind of, not really landlocked, but you just had one road in and out where you could come in other ways to, you know, once people learn this, you know, it can be used to alleviate some of the traffic and the flow of people coming in, and if you're coming in with horse trailers or whatever, you want easy access. You don't want to be bundled up. So I think it'd be a positive thing.
Okay. If there's nothing else on that, we'll move on to the next item, which is consider out-of-state travel for the engineers department. So with that in mind, we're gonna call on Lynn to come up and, see if he can answer questions about that travel and other things on the agenda.
This is for the paint truck. It's in the northwest corner of Iowa where we have to go get this vehicle. So, and I've looked at different routes, but I think roughly we'd spend probably right at $2,800 if we went with our own truck and got it, and then brought it back. That's the count of the fuel and all to get it back as well. So I think that's going to probably be the better route in case the truck breaks down, whatever. We'll have a way to get around and at least get parts or have a way to travel in case it does break down, whatever, if it does happen. So
your plan is to send a couple of guys on your
two guys,
vehicle?
yeah, we'll send two guys and I'll let them drive, and it probably wouldn't have to stay but one night. I've actually got a place they can probably stay on the way up. It wouldn't cost them anything. And then they could spend one night there at the location where they're going to pick the truck up and then bring it back.
Okay.
So, but it's about 1,300 miles traveling up there to that location where it's located.
One way,
One way. Yeah.
2,600
Yeah.
miles total
Yeah.
round trip. So is there a motion to approve this out-of-state travel? Obviously, it has to be brought.
Yes, and the truck's
Only
ready, I
if it
think.
gets used, right?
Yes, it's picked up on the, it'll be ready the 28th. I think we're gonna go get it right after, July 4th weekend,
Okay.
so.
I heard a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? There's a second. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that's approved. Next, on the agenda is approval to solicit bids for bridge components.
They're just up again, and we'll just give it this in fairness to our local guy out there in Montgomery or Troy. If materials could be going up or down, we're just going to give them the opportunity to, kind of stay within the a 6-month bracket that we
So
can
this
solicit
is
these
6
bids.
months.
I believe, yes, 6
With an
months.
extension
Yes.
option on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve soliciting bids on
Make a
bridge?
motion to approve soliciting bids.
There's a motion and second. Did you say so? I heard you say so. Well, I
Oh.
heard it from both sides. I didn't know.
Second.
So we did get a motion and a second. Anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's carried. Next is, consider purchase of new tracking devices for county vehicles. What you got?
We were on Solar Track, and they just really wasn't that dependable to me personally. There's always seems like something's going wrong with them. And we've had one vendor to come in and talk to us about it. They're a little more expensive, and I can see the advantages. We've had one instance in the county where I think we almost had a staged accident. Not said it was, but I believe it was kind of odd that we had a vehicle pass our vehicle, slammed on brakes, and turned right in front of a driveway. It's like they were actually asking for an accident, and somebody actually had it on video when this happened. So it's kind of suspicious to me. It may not have been, it may be all coincidental, but this does happen a lot. You do get a lot of brake checking and trying to create accidents sometimes, and sometimes a forward-facing camera would help in these situations.
These will have a forward-facing camera.
Well, the one vendor we have had, and I've talked to one of my fellow county engineers in Dale County, and they're on a different system, and I'd like at least the opportunity to look at what they have to offer. Now, I agree with the first one is probably better for us, but the main question today is, do we need them for every vehicle or not?
So what are you proposing?
Well, these are a lot
Your
more,
study.
the vendor we've talked to, they're a lot more expensive. They're almost 3 times as expensive as what we've had per unit
Getting 3 times more.
How much-
monthly. We're looking at $20 to $30 per unit, where the one was like $10 or $11.
What are you gonna
It's
get?
a different feature, like you say. The
But
cameras,
these were
the-
just, the ones we have are just literally GPS tracking. This other company that my friend in Dale County, that they're using, he's very pleased with them. It's real-time tracking. It doesn't have any cameras, but we could actually I could buy some little onboard, you can get onboard cameras now pretty cheap. This is a continuous loop, so if you have an accident, you can just stop, pull the card, and it won't be overwritten, because they'll last for a couple of weeks without the data being overwritten. So, but at least, the main question today is, do we need it for every vehicle or not?
What do you have them on, that, like our,
Well, we got them on backhoes, and we have them on off-road equipment. We have them pretty much kind of on everything.
Just the tracking.
You all
Yeah, the
voted
tracking,
that
yeah.
all county vehicles should have a tracking device on it except for the sheriff's department, whenever you first agreed to go on trackings back in 19 or 20.
Are you getting any value out of that, Lynn? The tracking system?
Well, to me personally, I do it more as a defense for my men. You know, you'll get accused of sitting on a shade tree for 3 hours.
Well, that's fine, so you're getting that
That's
value.
not, I know that's not the case, and, you know, broken windshield on a certain road during a certain day, because we do have a lot of our trucks are some of the different state vehicles and things of that nature. Even just a blue tag on a truck can be confused with a waterboard truck, because that's sometimes all they see. They see a white vehicle with a blue tag. It could be a gas district truck. You just never know who it could be. But I use it more as just defense for my men when they get accused of something. We go back and kind of look and see for that.
The system that you have now
Yeah.
is giving you that history pretty well, so you can track.
It's
Or
just not
just
dependable.
hit and miss.
They're always, sometimes we lose communication with them, and they're just not that dependable. They don't do it they don't ping every, these things now, I think, will ping every, Karen, I think he told us every 10 seconds, 10 or 15
I was
seconds,
trying to
where
look it
before,
up this
maybe
morning.
once every 3 to 5 minutes.
When it pings every 10 seconds, is it giving you location?
It gives you speed,
and
location,
speed?
everything, yeah.
So
It
you'll
gives you
have
everything.
all of that.
Yeah.
How old was the solar track?
We've had those solar tracks for what, Karen, probably
4 years, 5 years.
4 or 5 years. But, you know, motor graders, it helps, especially if one gets stolen or a truck gets stolen. We've had that
Had a
happen.
truck get stolen.
We've had that, you know, I was actually able to watch the truck. I said, yeah, you're fixing to come up to them on the rest of
It
you.
was just on
And sure
road
enough, there was a
graders.
truck, so, we can pull it up. I guess it was an app on my phone. We could.
So it
we could
has
use-
given you value then? whether
Yes,
it's
it has
been
given us value.
for
It's just-
defensive value or otherwise.
And it's still a good, I think for the money, what you pay, it's still a good, valid system, for what you're paying for it. But, the new one, with lawsuits and everything you see coming up the days, I think there's advantages to have onboard cameras. But like I said, we can put those in at a reasonable, just so we can buy those one-time purchase for, I think, $30, $40, you get a decent onboard.
We could put those in.
Yes.
With the current system, but you're just proposing an upgraded,
Just look
better-
at, just option to
better
look at
option.
different systems, and then how many do you actually we want to put them on? Because personally, I like trying to save the county money wherever I can, and, I just don't think a lot of the vehicles need them, and a lot of the equipment doesn't need them, because a lot of times they just sit and don't really move a whole lot. But if y'all want them, I'll be glad to put them on there. So,
What I would like to ask is that they bring a proposal for what to put it on. A list of equipment, a list of vehicles, and tell us which ones you propose putting on or not.
okay.
And then we can massage that a little bit.
Like I said, I'm good with whatever y'all want to do. I mean, we've got nothing to hide, you know, where we go or whatever, but,
And what the cost would be to add to another one, just say he comes with just motor graders, bulldozers, and there's not one on backhoes. Well, what would it cost to put one on backhoes?
Yeah.
Just-
The
just so we
current
know.
pricing we have is $15.95 per unit per month, and that was the GPS service. An asset, which they were talking about, like a piece of equipment that doesn't have the same features, would be $9.95 a month. Non-powered unit, like if you have a trailer you want to track, is $8.45. Then if you do the cameras, it's an additional $19.95 for dash cam, and that's got a 128 gigabyte memory card. And then if you wanted the driver facing, it's additional $4.50 a month. And that came into some places where they're trying to make sure people were in seatbelts and such as that. They have the forward facing and it gives alerts of stuff. But I don't think we were trying to be that invasive.
That was the old system?
No, this is the new
That's the
quote.
proposal of the new, yeah.
This is the first group. We have not gotten the other company's quotes
There's
yet.
several options for supplying that, though, right?
and the good thing about the old option, I forget if is there a contract with that new proposal we had? Was it a contract or a
I
month,
can't
just
remember.
month by month?
We didn't, I don't know that we ever got too far into that one.
But
We
I-
met with him one time, and then he spoke with Lynn some, trying to get some listing of assets to see, kind of
Yeah.
put a quote together.
Like I said, our dump trucks, low boy, even our patch crew, because a lot of times you'll have people pass, and with this new paint truck, I'd like to put one in as well, because you get people passing on fresh paint, and people call, so, well, you didn't have signs, but you're sitting looking at a truck going around with flashing. This happened in the past with our old truck. So, and Mobile County, the truck we're looking at, Mobile County has the exact same truck, and they actually put onboard cameras, one rear facing on the rear, and then one on the front as well, to catch people, just for liability issues and things like that. But,
So I think,
The same system that we use for cabs, that can outfit everything, plus we might get a discount because we already use them for cabs.
It's definitely an option, we should look at the different companies and see, but right now, we were just trying to figure out whether or not y'all were gonna change the ruling that y'all put in place that all county vehicles needed a GPS, which meant maintenance at many home services, every vehicle had to
I
have
think,
coverage.
I think any road equipment, anything that travels the road probably should have it. Then we need to look at
Just for
whether they're on
liability
trailers
purposes,
and,
yeah.
I think so.
I'm, whatever y'all want to do, like I said, just need to get clarification
I mean,
on
if
it.
it's $2 million, I don't know that that's feasible, but I think we need to look at doing every one of them.
We pay right now about $7,000, but that's counting,
7,000.
that's counting,
It was.
our department
All
and mapping and appraisal. Isn't that correct, Karen?
It's in-home services maintenance,
That has the ones we have in
EMA
now.
had one on their vehicle,
Need one on
your
Larry's
department.
vehicle. Need one on Larry's vehicle.
to what-
Need one on Larry's vehicle,
Which, the
Rena.
Rena vehicle
private.
has one on it,
Yeah.
or had one. I think they took them all off and sent them back recently,
Mhm.
but they all had one on it. Every department had one.
What else, related to that, what decision do you need from us? Just a.
Just asking how many, so I can give you a proposal on what they, if you want them all, I can get a tally of the equipment.
Or any county employee drives up down the road.
I like the road, the idea of the road.
Yeah, proposal.
But dozers, I mean, off-road equipment, y'all want to put them on those, or, I mean, they can be,
I
they can
like
be
it on the
theft.
motor grader, you know, John
Oh,
Farmer.
motor graders,
John
yeah,
Farmer
I don't
calls
mind
me,
motor
hey, when are you
graders.
gonna Blade Cross? I said, well, look, he's on Murray, he'll be there for 30
Yeah,
minutes, so
mhm.
get him off my back.
Yeah, I don't mind the motor graders. But I'm looking more at, like a bulldozer or a sweeper that we may only use
Do you,
once every 2 months.
do you ever have trouble locating that stuff? We got a county.
No, we pretty much know where
You know
everything's
where it
at.
all is?
We know where pretty much everything is, so.
The benefit that would have if somebody acquired one of our pieces of equipment.
Yes, and it has happened. I know Geneva County had, I think, a bush hog and a tractor stolen from them.
Yeah.
But they could easily, all they do is unplug it. If they see it, they can just unplug the unit and,
Unless they can hardwire them, they don't see it.
yeah,
If they get in the cab.
Yeah.
The cabs are locked, right?
yeah.
All right, so I think you kind of got the consensus, I think we're in
Just
favor
all
of more-
roadworthy.
In favor of more, not less, and so
Okay.
try to get a full list together.
That way I can give you an estimate of
Propose.
cost
All
on
right.
that. And I'll have a bunch of options. I'll look at what,
All right.
they're
What
looking at.
else, what kind of reports do you want to give us today on
Where
completions?
I gotta go right
status?
now is, to the bridge. I'm gonna give a center line, shot so we can set a cap. We're our last, we've driven our last bent on that bridge there on Giles Road, on that first bridge we're building. And that bridge has come on pretty quick. And they'll set the cap today. We'll dig and set panels, maybe this afternoon on that, get the panels set, excavate the dirt, backfill with, riprap, and then we'll put the components on it and then backfill the bridge and then get ready for guardrail and that bridge will be open. So that one's going really, really fast.
Okay.
We're paving, Glen Chambers Road, down there, today. Rain got them yesterday, but they're paving today. And we're doing a little bit of work on Old Farm as well. We got our rebuild money, again, from 55 to Glen Chambers Road. They're doing the widening and leveling. Basically, we're leveling the whole road on that one. It's like a resurfacing, but it's a real thin layer. And we're going to come out with a triple surface. South end, I'm using Miss Lynn's money on the ARPA funds to do the, we widen that road and we level that road. Those two really bad areas that needed really fixing. And we got that done. And we're going to take the rest of the money now and go to Glen Chambers and fix some of those rough areas on that road. So we're stretching every dollar we can to make that money go as far as it can. So,
So when he says Ms. Lynn's money, he's talking about
ARPA funds, yeah.
which was allocated $250,000 per district, so $1 million for improving our roads above the normal gas tax.
Yes. And we're through with our, I say we're through with it, we've got the paving portion of the LBW project is completed, and we're just gonna go now. I've worked out our fellow counties that let us borrow equipment from them. We're gonna use our widener to actually put out with a skid steer the topsoil to dress up the LBW walking trail.
Have you heard any update on the lighting that they're doing?
I haven't.
You needed a good rain on it, and maybe we got that.
Yeah,
so
we
it's
did. We got
ready.
one yesterday, I
Yeah,
believe.
so maybe we can get
So,
that done.
yeah.
107?
Our 107 project is going on. The rain shut us down today, but we've got our base dirt material in there. And we're doing more or less now a little bit of ditch work to get the thing ready to be done. I'm actually going to go and pave that section first before I break in onto the sides, because if I start breaking out, I want that road kind of finished. I don't want people, because you're not going to be able to keep people out once we start on the.
So you're going to bring paving equipment in 2 different times?
Yes. Yeah, the job's big enough, they'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that are we bidding that paving?
That's
or
going
is that
to
under
be
your
a
annual
purchase
bid?
order, just annual bid.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a purchase order. Do you know when we'll get that part of that first paving done? When you plan to start that, if you have?
If we got good weather, it could be just a few more weeks, because we're getting really close.
Before
on-
Christmas?
Oh,
more
God,
weeks,
yeah,
I'm just asking.
yeah. Yes. Oh, yes,
Okay.
yeah. If the road, like I said, 2/3 road's already been based, and we
Do
already got the
antici-
first,
Do we anticipate finishing that project?
this year, yeah, we anticipate.
This
finishing
paving
that.
season?
Yes, yes,
Okay, it's been slow.
yeah. And then, I'm trying to think what else. Like I said, the bulk of the work is done. Then we're gonna start moving to some of these other paving projects. Like I said, we have limited resource on our manpower, and, paving dirt roads, other roads, like I said, this 107 job is basically paving, but it's a whole new road. I mean, it's new construction from trees to pavement. But, we still have to do, W. Coleman Road, and we're looking at roads. Looking at some roads with ARPA funds from District 4 areas, and we also have the Crossing Murray Road, which I'm working right now with Dixon Company on right-of-way, because the right-of-way has to be given up for these roads to be paved. And I'm working now with Rayonier. They've got their map, and Dixon has their map on exactly how many acres we're getting from those two companies. So
what's
and
the process once they get the map?
we if they agree to it, then we get the deed signed. And I'm just waiting on it. I've already talked to Justin. He's getting with Charles on the one that Dixon has. And Elena has reached out to me on the one there on Radnor. But Radnor is more or less, there's already a power line there. I'm not really going no further than what the power line easement is. There might be one little small corner that's going to be additional, but that's a little bit extra that we'll be getting from them. So,
Okay.
but
So as long as the paperwork started on that,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
then I mean, it should move relatively
yeah,
quickly.
and it's still a little time out. Like I said, we still got other projects to do, but we're getting there.
Okay.
I know we got some people here from there, and I was kind of want to just kind of give them an update where we are on that. But we plan on hopefully doing that. I always got high expectations. I probably generally promise more than we can actually do, but I always feel positive with everything that we do here, because our guys do a good job at getting things done. So.
Anybody else have a question for Lynn? Y'all are getting a lot done. We appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a lot goes on.
There's a lot to
There's a
do.
lot more than just. I mean, it's just there's a lot that goes on. There's stuff that we do that people have no idea what we do. So.
On some of these, like, dirt road projects, Lynn, like, I mean, we was talking about W. Coleman, we just gonna do the base and then have a company come in and.
Pave, yeah. I got to do one little correction on that road. I got a landowner where the road's been lowered over the years. That's about 2 foot. The pipe's actually about 2 foot below the road now, where the ditch used to be. So I got to fill that area back in because there's no access for that lady to get to her property. We got to build that little section. It's going to probably be 60, 70 loads of dirt just to fix that one little area. But we get that fixed, then we can go ahead and probably get that one done pretty quick, because the right of way's already. Everything's already there on that road. That road's well established, and it wouldn't take much to get that one ready. But we got to get through, like I said, with our main dirt on 107, and then we can start moving these pans around, and start working on these other projects. So,
All right. Anything else? Thank you, Lynn. I
All right.
appreciate it. Next is discussion items by commissioners. Anybody have anything you want to bring up? I'd like to announce that Ms. Stephanie Cotton, who has been the county attorney for probably 9 years or so, has resigned as our attorney. That's why she's not in the meeting today. She has taken a job with the State of Alabama Department of Revenue, providing legal services for them, so we congratulate her on that job. And the county is in the early stages of locating a replacement for legal counsel. I think that we have some good options to consider, so. Any other comments?
Yes.
Okay.
We've been invited to participate in the 24th of June parade, and it's actually on the 24th of June
It doesn't happen often, does it? Yeah, okay.
It's on a Saturday.
in Florida
Do you know
on
what time,
Saturday.
what time the parade is?
I don't. I
Okay.
didn't ask.
Okay. If you can get information to us
I'm
on that.
thinking around 10 o'clock, though.
Okay,
Be there about 6 a.m.
That's right.
okay.
That's right. Get there early. Get you a good spot and everything.
Well, if we
Tommy
participate,
says
you don't,
he didn't know what the 24th of June was.
you don't want us to, I mean, you're not talking about just to watch the parade, though, you're talking about riding.
Yeah,
the
to
parade.
ride in the
Okay.
parade, yeah.
So we'll.
Throw candy?
All right. All right.
Yes.
Greg owes us all some candy.
I sure do. So I'll cover the candy for the 24th
They
parade.
said we threw real bubble gum one time. It wasn't like the
Or
play line.
ABC gum.
Yeah, or something.
All right. Anything else? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order. Thank you, Ms. Lynn. We are adjourned.